Okay, so this is supposed to be a talk to my computer series, and I got to find my barbecue lighter, whatever it is. Around here. I wonder. Just hold on. If I can set that off with a barbecue lighter, maybe I could set that thing off with a regular light. Can I do that? Ha, ha. Kind of. It's not as bright, but if I shine it right in, eh? Yeah, that'll work. Okay, there. Because I'm always scared I'm going to burn myself with that barbecue lighter. There. So this is I don't know which maybe this is number 6. Talk to my computer series. I saw a woman here recently on YouTube. Um, she she was really amazing, really delightful. She had a Brooklyn accent. I don't know anything about whether or not she has any religious faith or whatever. But she seemed to be very into computer graphics and video editing, that sort of thing. And I could tell that just by what she was saying, she had the same sort of regard that I shared for computers on many levels, and that is that she wanted something that performed, that it didn't necessarily have to be a quote-unquote gaming computer, because when you want high performance in computers anyway, people think that you're a hardcore gamer or something. Well, there's a whole lot more to this than just gaming. And I'd like to get into a little better video editing myself. In fact, I'm thinking on maybe, if the good Lord blesses me, I'm getting even a better camera for that purpose, and making my own videos. It's appealing, and I've noticed that I'm very big. I guess I was a little spoiled by my first computer. It was a Sony, I think RX 370 or something. It was for mostly video applications, and really high resolution. Back then, the Sony monitors were second to none. The old CRT Sony flat screens, better than Trinitron technology. Do you know how they advanced from Trinitron technology? The very high res. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, this lady, she seems somewhere in my age category, but she had the muster to get all the components and build her own PC. And I'm amused at this. I'm amused at this because you could tell that she had done her research. She was thorough. In fact, she settled on the exact same computer case that I settled on. And so, she's a lady of taste. She understands good looks and practicality. And like, really, this is a good-looking case. The Thermaltake Level 10 GT. I don't care what anyone says. I think it's an awesome-looking case. But I admired her, for her jam, because she had never built a computer before, but she was going to build a computer, and not only build a computer, but make a video of herself doing it. And you could tell just by the quality of her videos that she had been working with, graphics and video editing for some time. She knew what she was doing. Yeah, unlike yours truly. Um, I mean, she really knew what she was doing, and and her sense of humor was just exquisite. That's the only word I could like. And the work that she did, I mean, anyway, I'll leave that alone. But then she, after she built it, she was not happy. You know what I mean? She was not happy. She ran into some complications with the fans and with the cooling unit, And I wondered about those things myself. And here's the irony. The irony is, get this, the irony is that she wound up 1 year later rebuilding her computer. She kept the case. It's so funny. She gave her son, half the components, but she kept the case, and she got the same socket motherboard I've been looking at, the LGA 2011. That gives you all that much more memory, and she went to the Icy Dock, which is something I've been looking at for some time myself. She got really nice Asus X79 motherboard, which is exactly the way I want to go. And she stayed with the water cooling despite the problems she had with it originally, which is something that I've really been looking at. Actually, I've been looking at the Corsair H100i, and she's got the Corsair H100, the little older model. But by the time she was said and done, she almost built a duplicate of what I pretty much wanted myself. And what she's using it for is pretty much what I would be using mine for. Video editing. I'm really starting to develop an interest in this sort of field. Video editing and graphics and things like that, which is surprising me. I didn't think I'd be that keen on something like that. I mean, this woman, she's a pro. She's left me in the dust, but I like good resolution, which is why I wanted a really good fast response rate on my monitor, the 2ms response rate, and that's why I held out to get a nice 27-inch high resolution, 1080. Well, that's standard for everybody now, DPI. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I because Sony had me spoiled, and I do like good presentations. That's why I just aim the camera at anything and just talk, because these amateur productions, with talking heads and whatnot, and things blowing around, and the guy's got some kind of garbage hanging from the end of his nose, and I've seen so many amateur videos on YouTube. See, I know better. I know what it takes a lot more than that to make a good professional looking video. And there's something to be said for professionalism. Her second build, this lady was a pro. I'm going to keep going back to her because I think she's an awesome woman. First of all, there aren't very many women, at least in my age category, that are, have the jam to build their own PC. So I salute her for that. Okay. Second of all, she's classy. She's a classy lady. Okay. She even has the backbone to let her hair grow long and look like a woman, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, and you can tell she's not apologetic for this, but her personality aside, I was really impressed with the fact that she did this. But the second time round, so many of the components. It was just almost like a heaven-sent confirmation of, you're on the right track. This is the kind of computer you need and you need to build. Now, I'm going a little different because I'm really holding out, and it's really hard, but I'm really holding out for the Ivy Bridge, 2011 Ivy Bridge, But I could get the motherboard, I guess, It's just, I'm really holding out for this, But I want that Ivy Bridge CPU. And maybe that's, a little extremist for me, pardon the pun, extreme, ha ha ha, IBE. But it makes sense to go with the 22 nanometer die and the improvements that they will bringing in. The Haswell technology that they would be introducing to that. So I'm if it isn't really like if my budget can't really take the Ivy Bridge, then I will go the Sandy Bridge. I believe that's the way she went, and the the Sandy Bridge E, you know, because this is what gives you the best graphics, people. You really have to think about graphics, and don't give me the well, you can fix all that with a GPU. Yeah, you can. You can do a lot with GPUs, but it you can do a lot with the GPUs and an extreme processor chip together. You know, and yeah, that's what I like. If I am going to watch a documentary on my flat panel, I want to be able to make out everything I see. You know, I don't want to have to second guess or have to rewind it and strain my eyes. That are bad enough as it is. No, I don't want to do that. I want clarity. I want quality, and I want a high performance computer that isn't going to kick off and die on me after 2 years. I want a computer that's built to last. And I can tell you, with the computer I'm using right now, this thing here is probably third, fourth year now since I've owned it, and I can tell you I'm very happy with its performance. But you see, again, it's because I bought a high-end computer. I didn't buy, I admit it's a Dell, but it's the Studio XPS. You see, I'm always with these studio computers, it seems. But and I like good sound. I admit that the titanium sound blaster that I'm currently using is a little dated, but I don't know if I have the heart to give it up. I can vouch that the quality of the titanium sound blaster is crisp, it's clear, it's good. It's good. The guys at Creative did a great job with the titanium sound blaster. I'm very happy with it. Where's Turtle Beach today, right? So, but I think everybody has probably heard of, well, anyone in the computer circles has heard of titanium sound blaster. And this is the sort of thing. I like good sound, and I like good AV reproduction. I'm a desktop owner, and I like desktops, and it's people like me. That's the reason why desktops don't die. And I've seen some awfully nice laptops out there that can do lots of things that desktops can do, but then I've seen a lot of desktops that no laptop could ever touch. And of course, they've got the capacity. I really like what she did with the icy dock in the front of her build. And I was wondering how that would look, in the Thermaltake GT Level 10. And finally, thanks to her, and this idea she has with the locking hot swappable SSDs in the front of the case really complements the locking hot swappable trays on the side of the computer case. It's a really great idea. It really sets it off just right. And that's the other thing. For somebody who's just a novice at this, she did an excellent, probably the best wiring job I've ever seen. Everything very tidy, very neat, very clean. This has got to be probably the best computer build presentation I have ever seen on YouTube yet. And yet it was done by a woman who had never built a computer before. Do you know what I'm saying here? Guys, if you get a chance, look at it. You have enough information now. Thermaltake, Level 10, GT, all right? Part 1, Part 2, how to build a computer. She did an excellent job, and I salute her for that. And I wish there were more ladies out there like that. I wish actually I could run into a couple like that in this Nowheresville little town that I'm living in, and preferably some that were not married. Those would be the ones I'd be interested in talking to, because I could use an extra co-geek here, even if she wasn't interested in, making babies. Maybe we could pool some resources together and get something happening in cyberspace. But, there it is, I guess. Wow. There's all kinds of, it kind of gave me a glimmer of hope. It's like, yeah, there are some ladies out there, and I could tell she's a real no-nonsense woman. I like that. I like that in a woman. She doesn't put up with a lot of crap, but at the same time, she shows that submission by letting her hair grow long, understand. In other words, she's not going to apologize for being a woman either. I like that. I like that. I admire that in a woman. Now, I don't know. Maybe my putting her on a pillar is my own little fantasy or whatever. But she seemed like a very kind lady, because at the end, she's caressing a kangaroo. And in the end, this movie, like kangaroos, it says like a Rue production. It made me laugh because Rue is the nick that my firstborn daughter used online, Rue. And so, and they used to call her Rue at school all the time. And, well, anyway, it just, the irony it just kept getting me over and over again. The irony, you know what I mean? She caught my eye, that lady, and she actually gave me a little bit of hope that maybe there are still some other women out there, that might have that sort of je ne sais quoi. I don't know, but there it is. Like, I don't know, maybe this type of woman would have no patience with children, and although I can't really say that, because it sounded to me like she had a son and understood her son pretty good. But we could really use some help raising these children we're making. It's not like I'm begging or anything, but well, what have you got to bring to the table, Edward? I've got a lot to bring to the table, but I want to see what you got first, lady. Like I do. No, seriously, I do. You'd be surprised. Pick my brain. You want to pick my brain? We can sit down and we can pick my brain. All right? And maybe while you're at it, you can read my book. But yeah. There is a lot. There is a lot, and there's more even, and there's more. And if you're my family, and you really wanna do something, and you're my family, well, I got 22 acres of land, someplace that we could live, that is partially developed, and needs a good investor, where you can get away from it all and be away from the city and have your seclusion and have your little trout pond and breathe in sweet air and live on a plot of land the size of a city block and enjoy your life with me. And if you want to, you could even make some awesome babies with very high IQs. But, I have a lot to give. I have a lot to give. I have a lot of wisdom. I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of survival skills. I know how to do a lot of things. I've rebuilt an engine from scratch. Okay? I have a lot of ability. I've done a lot of jobs. I know how to survive out in the wilderness. Most young bucks these days, you take a young buck in a helicopter and drop him off in the middle of the wilderness, he won't even make it 2 days. I know I could survive a lot longer than that because I've been out there and I've done it. Someone once told me it isn't bragging if you can do it. Well, I can do it, so I guess I'm not bragging. I know how to catch a fish and clean a fish and cook a fish myself. You know, yeah, and it wouldn't be nice to raise your own chickens? I'd love to be able to do that. Raise my own chickens. I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's not too hard. Wouldn't you like to eat non-GMO foods and grow your own food in your own greenhouse and stuff like that? And eat good hearty food off the ground the good Lord made himself, and not have to always buy your food at the supermarket? See, women these days have all these dreams and that, but they're not willing to give up anything for it. They want the creature comforts of living in the city. Well, fine. If I'm not looking for a poor woman who has no money and nothing to invest and nothing to bring to the table. I'm not a fool. You want to live with me and you want my kind of sex? I'm telling you, you want my kind of sex? You got to have something to bring to the table too, lady. That's the way it is. Especially, you want my genetics? I make geniuses. Unless you're, partly retarded yourself, your child will likely be a genius. My children are brilliant. I got the proof. I've got the marks. Anyway, I've got a lot to offer in the way of guidance, counseling, love, because I love all my children. I think that has a lot to do with a child's development too, is, the expression, the touch, the interaction, the teaching. My 3-year-old reads. I'm happy with that, Anyway, but what can you bring to the table, woman? Because remember, you're going to live 10 to 12 years longer than me easy if you're my age. So I want something a little younger, okay? Because you're going to live longer than me anyway, no matter what. I'm putting it out there. Advertisement for co-wife. I would like actually four wives. Yes, I would. Okay? But, there's so much to lose. So, that's the way it is. And there's so much to gain. Well, that's the way it is. And what are you saying, Ed? Do you own all this land? Well, I've got connections. And boy, yeah, I got connections. Connections that I generated myself. But there it is. Family is family. And when it comes to family, yeah. I've got that and I've got more. And I'm not going to lay out all my cards on the table like some whore and say, look at my goodies. No. I laid out a few cards. If you're interested, you'll contact me. If you're not interested, oh well, you're not interested. I'm just tired of hearing all these women whining about contrails, whining about not being able to eat organic food, whining about not being able to grow their own garden, and they're in their 30s, and they're whining about how they can't have any children. And they're whining. But they don't want to give anything up. They don't want to invest, their money. They don't want to give up their jewelry, jewelry. They don't want to give that up, Wow, women are so selfish, so vain. And then they think that a man has to live like a woman and only be loyal to her just as she should be loyal to him. No, it doesn't work that way. No. Women have their privileges too. I mentioned one of them. Women live 10 to 12 years longer than the average man. If a man's life is that short, he should be allowed to have 4 wives. That's right. And he should be fruitful and multiply and try to have as many children as he possibly can, if that's what the good Lord made him to do. And that's the problem. I spurned my calling. That's my challenge. I spurned my calling. I was called to make babies, but I had the government programming cowardice that stop me from having faith. And I realize the error of my ways now. And what a shame. Because I make awesome babies. And I'm a good father. And I'm not going to be in my present situation all my life either. I'm going to bail myself out of this present situation. I mean, I'm referring to like my medical challenges. I'm referring to, some of my financial challenges. But remember this, in all the days that I operated, I never went bankrupt once. I operated 5 companies, never went bankrupt once. Anyone who wants to criticize me for where I stand in time right now better not ever have gone bankrupt in their lifetime, because don't talk to me about so-called quote-unquote waste of taxpayers' dollars, you bankrupt bum you. I don't care if you got yourself an employment situation going right now. You're still a bankrupt bum. I don't go easily with people who make bankruptcy claims and try to point the finger at me like some poor person is bringing this country's economy to its knees. Okay? I'll tell you that also. I don't take kindly to those people because those people are deluded. They are deluded to think their tax dollars pay for roads and stuff like that. What arrogance, what conceit, what blindness, what sheep they are for believing the lies their government tells them. Meditate on this. Meditate on this. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, but you meditate on this. You see, here's what happens to every tax dollar you ever earned that you ever paid in your life. It goes up the inflationary chimney flue. It is literally and physically burned. Okay? And the reason why all the old money gets burned, it's covered by the old money. It's kind of like a laundering system. And the reason the old money is burned is to offset inflation. That is what your tax dollar is used for. That's where the value of your tax dollar gets translated, in the burning of old money. That's the truth. All right? Don't kid yourself. And then they allocate a budget for the roads and all that other stuff. All right? Your tax dollar? No, that's just an excuse to keep you dumbed down. All right? That's what it is. Your tax dollar doesn't pay for anything. It doesn't pay for anything at all except to keep you limited and controlled by your government so that the value of the dollar doesn't inflate to the degree that inflation has devalued the money, and you have to start bringing the money into the store by the wheelbarrows just to buy yourself a loaf of bread. Okay? That's how it works. Because we live in a very rich, very abundant nation. And I'm really tired of hearing all these women whining, and how they want a real man. Lady, you can't handle a real man, all right? And most women can't. Most women cannot handle real men. And the reason why is because they've all been conditioned from little girls on up to live like whores. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. If you're offended, I'm sorry. I don't want to offend you. I want you to take a good look at reality and see that that's the truth. Since they were little girls, they've been raised on up to live and think like whores, and they don't know how to be loyal to a man. But there are exceptions, and I'm putting the feelers out right now for an exception. I'm looking for an exception because the young wife here thinks she needs a co-wife. And so, I'm motivated now to put out a feeler here or two for an exception. I challenge you to come talk to me because, believe it or not, I'm a real man. I mean, maybe you can't handle it, and if you can't, I understand. But I am a real man. God bless you. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry I'm running out of time here, but there it is. And yeah, God bless you. Thanks for listening. If you've made it this far into this video, and you're a woman, wow, you've got something going for you. I'm not sure what it is yet. Drop a line. Let me know. All right. Thanks for listening to my non-video audio presentation.